Welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Kelly.
And we like to read.
BYOB has changed quite a lot since our first episode back in January of 2021, so we wanted to reintroduce ourselves and tell you a bit about what types of content you can expect from this podcast.
I'm Nikki, and I'm so excited to be continuing our book-loving journey with another season of BYOB. Since I was young, I've been an avid reader. I grew up reading fantasy books like Inkheart and the Pendragon series, and that enjoyment has morphed into a love of mystery thrillers and horror as well. At the beginning of the pandemic, when everyone had more free time on their hands than they knew what to do with, I started reading more than I ever had before, and the idea came to me to share that love with my friends and other people. Talking with Kelly and Tilly, who hosted BYOB with us previously, was so fun and funny that I felt like it was a natural next step for us to share what we love with other people who love it too.
I'm Kelly, and like many people, I loved reading as a kid, but I stopped reading for enjoyment once I went to university. It wasn't really until the pandemic that I got back into it. That, and finding out that my best friend Nikki was also a reader. When I was growing up, most of my friends didn't talk about books or reading. Unless it was a huge cultural phenomenon like the Harry Potter or Twilight series, people weren't talking about books, so it felt amazing to finally be able to talk to someone about whatever book I just finished. When Nikki told me she wanted to start a book podcast, I told her I wanted to be a part of it, and luckily for me, she said yes. Although I love reading a variety of genres such as thrillers and fantasy, over the past 2 years I've discovered my love for romance, and I've primarily been reading that. So, if you need any recommendations but aren't sure where to start, I've got you.
So, why BYOB? What does our BYOB even mean? When we first began this podcasting journey, each book we read would be discussed over a featured cocktail or alcoholic beverage to match the book's aesthetic or themes.
For example, in our first ever episode on Maggie Stiefvater's The Raven Boys, we drank Black Magics. Or, in our episode on Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch, we drank a hot toddy. After 2 seasons of coming up with fun, festive drinks, we realized that it wasn't really what we wanted to be doing.
We're not a drinking podcast. We talk about the books we like to read. And so whoever's coming to check out the podcast would, hopefully, be much more interested in hearing us talk about our thoughts and feelings about the crazy plot twist we totally didn't see coming, and not how to make a Tom Collins.
Although, if you'd like to know how, you can find that in our episode on Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, a delightful, cozy YA mystery series set at an eccentric millionaire's private academy. That episode's linked below.
Nowadays, our BYOB really only means bring your own book. No drinking required.
Bring your own book means that maybe one episode will be talking about the latest romantasy release, and maybe another will be talking about all of the books we read that month.
One episode will be buddy reading an overhyped book talk book, and the next will be offering book recommendations to help the other out of a reading slump. Each year, we read more books on our own, off the air, than we could ever hope to read at the same time for a planned episode. So because of this, and because we genuinely love talking to each other about the books we're loving, hating, and anticipating, we'll be doing much more than just book reviews.
Going forward into Season 4, BYOB will feature book reviews, bookish discussions, author interviews, and, as always, lots of laughs. Unlike this trailer, our episodes are anything but scripted, so you're sure to hear a musical theater reference here and there. Can't be helped. We've had a blast making these first few seasons, and we are so grateful to have already had the opportunity to interview some amazing authors.
If you want to check out our conversations with Rebecca Yaros, Jennifer L. Armentrout, or Maisie Eddings, you can find those episodes linked in the show notes. And if you want to keep up to date on all of our bookish antics off the air, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at BYO Book Podcast, or on TikTok at Bring Your Own Book Podcast.
For any collaborative or business inquiries, you can email us at byobookpodcast@gmail.com.
If you're new to our podcast, thanks for joining us.
And if you're not new to our podcast, thanks for coming back.
Over the last few years, we've built a community, and we are so happy to come back bigger and better than ever in Season 4.
See ya!